Wow, what a draft. Welcome to Hold My Helmet. I'm Will Reichling, my co-host.
Dylan Boyle.
What's up, Dylan? How you doing?
Man?
That was crazy. We will get into
was.
everything, but initial thoughts, how do you feel, man?
I think the key thing is Falcons picking up quarterback.
Falcons picking
Whoa.
Michael Penix. That is the number one story. We're going to get into that right now. Keep liking, subscribing, sharing. Hold My Helmet podcast. We got some merch. Maybe buy some merch. Check out our YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, at Hold My Helmet. Let's do it. Let's go. So, Dylan, pick number 8, the Atlanta Falcons, Michael Penix, Kirk Cousins, under contract for the next 2 years, $90 million fully guaranteed. What's up, man? What's going on?
I think we have
Was this the plan?
I think we have another quarterback controversy on our hands.
Controversy? To me, this is beyond that. It's like, what was the Falcons' plan in this offseason? Was this their plan the entire time? I'll let you take the floor first. And I'll give my thoughts.
Going into the draft, the owners and managers kind of know what they're going to do already. So this must have been in the books for them, but it just throws me off. You get this new quarterback, he's kind of at his prime right now. You want to surround him with people that are going to help him grow. If anything, this is kind of just, it just blows my mind because, that's just always going to be on his mind. And, that's going to affect the way he plays. And, they could have got anyone. They could have helped him on the line. They could have got him a receiver. They could have got him a running back, to help Bijan. But they didn't do any of that. And I just don't know where their head was at with this one.
I don't know either. And that makes me think that this was kind of a last month decision. Like, I don't think this was the plan going into the offseason. Like I said, the first 2 years of Kirk Cousins' contract is $90 million fully guaranteed. And you see that teams are loading up on quarterbacks. Like with Pittsburgh, you got Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Now, that's a different scenario because neither of those guys were drafted this year. Mm-hmm. But you see that teams are starting to load up on quarterbacks. So maybe that's what the Falcons were thinking here. Insurance plan. I mean, there's two sides to this coin. The first side of this coin is, look, I like Michael Penix over J.J. McCarthy. And now we're starting to see that other teams did too. I'm not surprised that multiple teams, I'm hearing now, we're trying to move up to get Michael Penix. Apparently the Seahawks, the Saints, and the Raiders all attempted to trade up into the top 10 for Michael Penix Jr. Mm-hmm. I think Michael Penix Jr. absolutely deserved to be a top 10 pick, especially picked over J.J. McCarthy. Yeah. So Michael Penix Jr. at pick number 8 in itself, I love it. I love Michael Penix. I think he was third to fourth best quarterback in the draft. I think he's the second best thrower of the football in this draft. I don't agree with him being
the team that picked
I don't
him
think
up,
he was
yeah.
overdrafted. I think the situation of where he was drafted to is kind of what screws things up here. Like I said, Kirk Cousins. You just signed a guy for $180 million, $98 million of it being fully guaranteed in the first 2 seasons. And Michael Penix isn't a 20-year-old like McCarthy. He's 24. He's going to be 24 when the season starts. So this is not a guy that needed to sit. He's, other than Caleb Williams, the most pro-ready quarterback out of all of these prospects. Now he has to sit for a year or two. I kind of feel bad for this guy.
I do. Maybe they have something in the works. Maybe they could be working, having him as a trading piece. That would be smart. Go over. You have more time for this.
That's very interesting because no one's really brought that up. I don't think that's likely, but
like, what if the 49ers came? What if they went to the 49ers, say, "Hey, give me Brandon Aiyuk, take the quarterback, give us a couple picks."
That's actually crazy to say though after the way Brock Purdy's been playing, but I get where you're coming from get younger, but Brock Purdy's like cheap, so that's maybe not the greatest example, but I get it. Like Miami. Well, the Miami's like, because Tua is coming into a contract.
The Cowboys. They couldn't really get anything from the Cowboys. They don't really have much to offer.
But it's the concept though of just maybe this is a trade piece. I just don't think so. I think what really happened was
Giants.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't get much from them either.
I don't know. It just seems like the Falcons have 1 foot in the door and 1 foot out. Like, it seems like they want to win a Super Bowl, but at the same time stay relevant and not, like, tank after Kirk Cousins is done. I get what they're trying to do. Like, I get the mindset. Like, Kirk Cousins, you don't know if he's going to come back and be as good as he was when he got injured. He's mid to the late 30s, off an Achilles injury. Like, couldn't move to begin with. Now he's probably even less mobile. Yeah. But, like, why would you pay him?
Ownership
then why would you pay him?
Have faith in their quarterback or isn't 100% committed with somebody. I feel like they're just.
I think they fell in
love
with Michael Penix Jr. in the last month or two. I think it was a recent thing. I think they signed Kirk Cousins thinking this is going to be our quarterback moving forward in the near future. And then they looked more and more at Michael Penix Jr. Like, if this guy's at 8, we got to take him. And I get that. Like, in a nutshell, yeah, if Michael Penix is sitting at 8, I would take him too. And I totally get it, but it's crazy. Then why would you pay Kirk Cousins? Like, I just keep coming back to that. Like, I get them drafting Michael Penix Jr., but then every time I keep coming back to no, because you paid a guy almost $200 million, and the next 2 years is going to be fully guaranteed money. So it's like, this is not a young quarterback that needs to sit. This is a guy that needs to play right now. And think about this, Dylan. Kirk Cousins is not going to be starting OTAs. So Michael Penix is going to be the first quarterback to throw these guys a football this offseason. I could see some kind of controversy playing out where these guys like Penix better, Kirk Cousins gets off to a slow start. In my opinion, if I was the GM of the Falcons, the head coach in the organization, I would not go. I would start him after 1 season. I would not go 2 seasons. I would go 1 year max and start him in the second season. I think it's possible that he plays this season. I think it's possible that Kirk Cousins struggles and he beats him out eventually. I really do. I like Michael Penix Jr. a lot. I just think it was foolish to sign Kirk Cousins then.
I think it was too. I mean, maybe they work him up, they get some footage on him, have some other teams become interested, and then trade him off. But at the same time, you kind of committed to Kirk Cousins with a 4-year deal. That's 4 whole years.
Right.
Like, you're obviously committed to him at that point.
So let me ask you this, Dylan, before you go on. Sorry to cut you off there. What would you rather have done going into this offseason? Not re-sign because he was never there, but sign Kirk Cousins to this contract or draft Michael Penix at 8?
Draft Michael Penix.
I absolutely agree. I would have drafted Michael Penix. 100%. I think Michael Penix is a better thrower of the football. He's younger. He's faster. Even there's some injuries, but there's injuries with Kirk Cousins, and he's older. Michael Penix has played his last 2 seasons, full seasons. So I'm glad we agree there.
Yeah, I mean, this is a still developing team. So the way that they're developing, you kind of need a younger guy that's going to be growing with the team. Kirk Cousins kind of in his prime. I don't think the Falcons are at the point where they're like, okay, we need a quarterback to get it done right now because we're ready to go. We're ready to go
I think
to a
they
Super
think
Bowl.
that, though. That's why they did this. I think they think that.
They're great kind of like the Giants. Like, they have a few pieces that, they had fucking... I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
They had Barkley. They had a couple wide receivers. I feel like they were in a very similar situation. But they were in no situation to go to the Super Bowl. They're in a very similar situation.
I will say it's a little different in my opinion because the offensive talent they have, like Drake London, the Giants don't have a Drake London. The Giants don't have a Kyle Pitts. They don't have a Bijan. But I get what you're saying as far as there's pieces there, especially on defense. And the Falcons' defense was very underrated last season. In my opinion, it was a top 10 defense. You had A.J. Terrell, Jesse Bates III. They had a good secondary, but I thought they needed a pass rusher. So I thought they were going to go with a pass rusher here. So I was very, very shocked at this. Like, I liked it because I liked that. I didn't like that he was drafted over J.J. McCarthy. I'm not rooting for one guy over the other. This is what I thought. So I'm glad that other teams thought the same thing as me, but I just didn't like the team it was.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if it would have been like a 5th or 6th rounder that they picked up in a quarterback, I would have been fine with that. But using your 1st-round pick for that, you could have used that for plenty of other things.
The funny thing about this, too, though, Dylan, is this could end up being an absolute home run where we look back on it and we're like, damn, they were smart as hell for drafting this guy. Because for all we know, Kirk Cousins, look, it's not our money. I know it's a salary cap league, but it's not our money. If they want to go and waste the cap, that's their prerogative. If this guy comes out in a year or 2 and he's a stud, it's going to look like the best pick that any team's made in a long time.
Absolutely.
Because the move from one legit quarterback to another legit quarterback, they're trying to do a Packers here, in a way.
Yeah, no, I get what they're saying, but they're doing it a little too early.
Yeah.
They're jumping the gun.
Yeah.
But you're right. We could be, looking back on this and like, hey, we were hella wrong. Either A, they're going to be trading him, or he's going to beat out Kirk Cousins. And I'm not going to lie, Kirk Cousins, he's a similar situation to Josh Allen's. He just never wins in the big moment.
See, I got to give you a little pushback there because the talent level, man. Watch Kirk play and watch Josh Allen play. Josh Allen makes your jaw drop. Kirk Cousins,
he's like moderate,
Yeah,
he gets the job done.
He's a good quarterback, man, and he was playing his best football.
Can a good quarterback get it done in this league?
Can it win you a Super Bowl? Look at Dak. Can it win you a Super Bowl? That's the big question.
You have to be star-studded to be going to, like the 49ers. They're star-studded.
But then you need a quarterback on a rookie contract, hence Brock Purdy. Jalen Hurts, or you get Mahomes, and you don't have a good... It's either you have the star quarterback, paid a lot of money, but even Mahomes, the last couple Super Bowls before this one, he wasn't getting paid that much till this season.
But that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, they're not a type of team that has everything for them where they can just throw any quarterback in there and get it done. They need a quarterback that's going to somewhat put the team on their shoulders.
Yes.
Hurt can't do that. Maybe Penix could do that, but we don't know yet.
It's just like the two, like it's the real thing here that's like really conflicting with me in my brain is like the two transactions separate are good transactions. When you combine them together on the same team,
terrible.
It's like that's what's really bothering me. It's like I like the Kirk Cousins signing, I like the Penix draft pick, but combined together, it doesn't make sense.
I really feel like it's going to be the downfall
of the Falcons.
Yeah,
wow.
Sure.
Which is funny because remember in the offseason, they had a chance to get Belichick, they turned it down, bringing in the young, smart defensive head coach Raheem Morris, who had a shot with the Bucs, didn't work out. Seems like a smart guy. Seems like he likes some offense. The fact that he agreed, signed off on drafting quarterback, a little spicy. I like the look for as far as takes and interesting takes and all that. Love it. We're in the podcast industry. It gives us something to talk about. Yeah. But when we're talking about salary caps, this isn't baseball. We've talked about this before. Baseball, it comes down to what team has exactly money, having the most money. In football, every team pretty much spends the same amount. I mean, it really becomes different when you start paying coaches because they don't count towards the cap. But players are players, and they all have the same cap, each team. So this is going to affect them.
Yeah, and this is a very developing team. You know, they were on the up and coming. So I don't know how this is going to affect them. This is going to trajectory them to being a better team or a worse team.
And it's kind of conflicting too a little bit because they keep saying like, oh, the best case scenario is like, Michael Penix sits a year or two and then he starts. You're wasting his rookie contract then. You're wasting half his rookie contract. And they keep saying, but you got a bunch of young players around him on rookie deals. That's coming up soon. Drake London, what's he going to his third season? Kyle Pitts, I think, is going to his fourth. Bijan's going to his second. But you have players that eventually you're going to have to pay him. It's not like this. They're going to have rookie contracts forever.
Yeah, I'm trying to play it out in my head. Like, how would have this made sense in any sort of scenario? Like, boom, it's the season ended. You don't have your quarterback, and you start looking around in the league, see what quarterbacks are available. Oh, Kirk was available. Maybe they jumped the gun too quick, and then they start having their guys looking at footage and everything. Like, oh, we really like this guy. And I don't know. I mean, I can kind of see where they're going at here, but it just...
Wouldn't you have scouts
unfortunate how it happened?
The resources an NFL franchise has. Wouldn't scouts be doing this all off season, looking at college tape, watching the college games throughout the entire season? Wouldn't you have some kind of idea? It seems like it really seemed like they didn't have a plan. It seems like they just saw Penix at 8 and they were like, we gotta take this guy. I don't know. It just
that's the only thing I could think of.
Good stuff.
I can't really make any.
Good stuff, though, man. Good stuff for sure. I mean, there's many different opinions you could have on this. Some people will agree with it. Most people don't. Which is
a lot of the things Falcon fans don't agree with.
No, and I get it though. You want to win now. You want to win a Super Bowl. This is not the way to do it, man. This is you're trying. I get it. They might now. They're going to be good for a long time because they got I think Penix is going to be a good quarterback in the league. But you're kind of limiting yourself in the now. But let's move on to the guy who got picked after Penix, which I was right all along. Vikings select J.J. McCarthy, pick 10. Everyone just kept saying they were going to move up into possibly the top 5, the top 3 maybe. And they only moved up one pick to get McCarthy. So, like I said, the entire draft process, this was a smokescreen. Yes, they ended up with J.J. McCarthy still, so that was correct. But they only moved up one pick. And, really, Sean Payton fooled them into moving up that one pick. We'll get into that later. But, look, this was actually a perfect landing spot for J.J. McCarthy. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Hockenson, Aaron Jones. We can go on and on about the talent in the offense. Yeah. Offensive head coach.
They're star-studded over there.
Yes.
I feel like he's going to take right off with this team.
See, I don't know, though, because... he reminds me of a little more athletic Alex Smith. I think he's going to get the job done, but I think when the time when the time comes to carry this team, he's not going to be able to do it. I haven't seen it. Show me it, and then I'll believe it. And this NFC North is going to be tough. I think Green Bay is going to win this division. Detroit's going to be right there. And the Chicago Bears, look at that offense now. The Chicago Bears. I think the Chicago Bears are going to be better than Minnesota. I don't know if that's a hot take. But
I don't think that's a hot take at all.
The Minnesota Vikings will be the last place team.
Younger guys, but at the same time, they're better guys.
It's hard for me to take a guy in the top 10 when you barely have footage of him doing the wow plays. So it's
we really don't know how these quarterbacks are going to pan out.
We don't.
We never do.
We don't. Justin Herbert, people said he couldn't move. He was too mechanical. Then all of a sudden, you see him move. You see him getting hit and breaking tackles and running out of the pocket. C.J. Stroud, another one. People thought he was very, he was limited, and he's looking a lot better than Bryce Young to me.
He doesn't look limited at all.
Looks like it's a crapshoot, man. I thought Darnold was going to be a really good quarterback. He's getting the chance. Actually, speaking of the Vikings, he's going to get a chance. I think he's going to start over J.J. McCarthy to begin with. So
you think so?
Yeah, and that gives McCarthy
some time to develop. Gives him watch behind a quarterback.
That's why he's in a great situation right now. He doesn't need to start right away. So, but. There was rumors that the Vikings were going to move up to 3. First off, the Giants were Drake Maye or bust, and the Vikings were going to move up to 3. If the Vikings got J.J. McCarthy at pick 10, Why would they have moved up to 3 to get him? I think they wanted Drake Maye over J.J. McCarthy. I don't think J.J. was their first pick. Now getting to Drake Maye, the Patriots select him at 3. Like I said, the Giants were Drake Maye a bust.
I mean, listen, that kind of shocks me as a Giants fan how they came into the draft saying, okay, we want him. And it's like, why would you even do that? You know, it hurts the organization, it hurts Daniel Jones. Like, you know.
They said that before the draft? Like there was rumors before the draft?
Well, no.
After.
Sources say that they try to trade up.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Now, I would have taken Drake Maye if he fell, but I don't think it would have been smart to trade, like to get Drake Maye and trade up. I don't think you offered them much, though. You offered them your 6th and then a first next year. That's not crazy to move up to the 3 pick. But like I said, I think teams preferred Drake Maye and, what's his name? Michael Penix Jr. over J.J. McCarthy, and it shows here. The Giants were trying to get Drake Maye. The Vikings, in my opinion, were trying to get Drake Maye. Drake Maye, though, look, not much talent there. This is going to be hard for him. He's got the talent. He's got the whip. He's got the mobility. He's got the size. He's got the strength. The thing that comes down to him is boneheaded mistakes, turnovers, and missing wide open guys. He's got to get the simple things down. But like I've heard someone say this before, I'd rather teach a guy a slant, a drag, than teach a guy how to make the wow play out of the pocket, the 50-yard throw down the field. I'd rather teach the guy the simple than teach the hard to a guy that can't do it. So I'd rather, this guy's got the talent. He's got the wow. There's a potential for this guy to be one of the best prospects out of this draft, to be the best quarterback in this draft, coming out of this draft. He's got that potential, but you see a lot of stuff on film with this guy missing wide open throws and stuff, and he's not working with like Devontae Parker, Juju Smith-Schuster. These are guys that don't get a lot of separation.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And the Patriots organization in general have not been good after Tom Brady.
No, they haven't. A lot of these quarterbacks in most drafts, I mean, other than like special guys like Caleb Williams, Trevor Lawrence. I mean, now Trevor Lawrence is not even really working out, but like more like John Elway, Peyton Manning, guys that are drafted first overall that usually turn out to be great quarterbacks. Except if
you're Brock Purdy.
Yeah, Brock Purdy. Other than that, it really depends where you go. Like J.J. McCarthy, perfect situation. Drake Maye, not so much. I think Drake Maye,
he has to earn it.
Yes,
he's gonna have to earn it.
I would take Drake Maye over J.J. McCarthy in a vacuum, but with the situations, J.J. McCarthy might end up being better than Drake Maye, just with his surrounding talent.
The team he's on. Like, well, what if Caleb Williams got drafted by the Patriots? How do you think they would pace out?
See, like I said about the first round picks that are like generational, I think Caleb Williams would be able to carry. But, Jaden Daniels might not be. Bo Nix wouldn't be able to. So it depends on like how special you are. Like Mahomes would. Would Jalen Hurts? Would Brock Purdy? Like, I don't know. Justin Herbert might. Would Dak? Two. That's the fine line between elite and and people like to shit on Herbert, but look, he's made the playoffs with jokes of defenses, shitty offensive lines, shitty head coach. So don't shit on Herbert. Just kidding. We'll move on though. Broncos. Look, I said earlier they were trying to trick the Vikings, making it look like they were going to move up to take J.J. McCarthy, and Sean Payton was like laughing about it after on the press conference or whatever. They got the guy apparently, Bo Nix. People were talking about this basically all offseason. Like this is their guy. He fits the system perfectly. He's a guy that makes quick reads, gets the ball out of his hands quick, hits his first, second read. He can make a lot of plays out of the pocket though. So like there's potential here.
I think he'll gel with this team real well, especially with Sean Payton too.
I do think he's solid here for sure. But the thing is, he's got a record for the most college starts in like college football history. So how much of this is just him, like his dominance in college, just being around the game for so damn long? Like for instance,
that's important.
For instance, though, just for an example, his rookie season he played at Auburn. Okay, his first game ever, he won. Guess who was the quarterback in the other team?
Who?
Justin Herbert. That's how old this guy is.
Wow.
So this might be his ceiling. He might not. What you see might be what you get. That's what I'm saying. This guy is older, so it's like.
So he's already.
I think he's polished. Yes, he's already polished. But what you see might be what you get. There might not be any like development.
Wow factors,
yes, exactly. I see some wow. I see some movement. I see some nice throws out of the pocket, like moving. He's very good at ad-libbing, But at the same time, he's not a very layered throw guy. Like Penix can fit the ball between linebackers and safeties.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of that from him. I see a lot of 5-yard outs, like quick slant. A lot of short, get the ball out quick, which works in a Sean Payton style offense.
Yeah.
But as far as like elite and carrying, I don't know if he's that. But does this fit the system well? Yes. But was this a reach? Yeah. Like number 12, it's a little bit of a reach, but they didn't have a second round pick. So it was like, get your guy now, or you're not going to get him at all.
And they needed a guy.
They needed a guy. Zach Wilson.
Ben
DiNucci. Jared Stidham's okay, I guess. Nothing special.
That locker room is not deep. Deep at all.
Not deep at all. 6 quarterbacks in the first 12 picks, Dylan. This is an NFL record.
Historic, right?
And more ironic than that, After those 6 picks, the next quarterback selected was in the 5th round. Biggest gap between quarterback selections in NFL history.
And then you have the most. That's pretty funny.
6 selected in the first 12, and then all of a sudden the next one wasn't selected till the 5th round. That's pretty crazy to think about.
That is pretty crazy.
That is crazy. But moving on to other teams in the draft, other than quarterbacks, a lot of quarterback talk here. Now instead of quarterback talk, let's talk cornerback talk. Philadelphia Eagles, man. People said their defense was Swiss cheese. That secondary was Swiss cheese last season. So what do? They draft 2 corners in the first 2 rounds. Quinton Mitchell out of Toledo and QB J.J, the first white corner that potentially will start since Jason Sehorn on the Giants out of Iowa. So what do? People said the play calling wasn't right on offense. They go and hire the OC Kellen Moore. They said the play calling on defense wasn't right. They hire the DC Vic Fangio. They said the secondary is Swiss cheese. They draft 2 corners in the first 2 rounds. 2 out of the best 4 corners in the draft. So they are doing the right things. The Philadelphia Eagles are putting themselves in position to get back to the NFC Championship game.
They might have had the best draft this season.
I think they did.
They did.
Other than Chicago, yes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Chicago won. Getting Caleb Williams and the Dunze, yeah.
For sure. Like, they did everything they had to, like you said, their defense wasn't good. They got some cornerbacks. And, like, they answered to every fault they might have had.
I think they got another pass rusher, too. Yeah, so they added stuff. I think they added a receiver, too, late. Mm-hmm. So they filled gaps where they needed to fill. Look, Jason Kelce's going to be a huge loss, obviously. That's just a guy that's irreplaceable, It's like you lose Tom Brady. It's like you're not going to be able to replace that.
I think a lot of us are really curious to how they're going to actually play without him. How is Jalen Hurts going to react or this coaching staff going to react without the tush push, without the gimmies.
Right. And
so I'm curious to see how they play out.
And the polar opposites of the 2 NFC East teams. The Eagles doing everything they can to fix the issues, and Dallas doing everything they can to not put anything around Dak. I feel like this is almost on purpose. They signed Zeke.
I was so shocked. All offseason, I'm like, okay, so what weapons are they getting in there? What running backs are they getting? Oh, nobody? So I guess they're going to pick up somebody in the draft. Nobody. Running backs, no wide receivers.
1 receiver in the 6th round. That's it, in the 6th round.
Oh, my God, man. And then they go ahead and pick up Zeke again.
That's the news. The news for the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys have re-signed Ezekiel Elliott. For
what? Like, that's hysterical. Like, what are they thinking?
Look, I get it, man. He was a great locker room guy. He was elite at one point,
At one point, we saw what he was like on the Patriots.
Look, I know, man. If this was a move surrounded by other moves, it would be understandable. But this is the one big move of the offseason.
And you got to realize, like, he was good behind Pollard. But then him by himself, he was irrelevant. And who's going to be that number 2 to help him?
I don't think they drafted the running back.
At all.
Did they? I gotta look
I really think at this point they're trying to set Dak up for failure and just get rid of him.
I agree with that.
They filled up their defense. They got a lot of defensive players, and
I agree with that. This is
abandoning the offense.
This is Dak's contract year, essentially. I think Jerry Jones is kind of saying, okay, you want a big contract?
Earn it.
Let's see what you do with limited talent. Can you make the playoffs? Can you make the NFC Championship game like you've never done with loaded talent? Yeah. So
I mean, it's not a gimme conference either. I mean, Washington had a lot of good drafts. Right. Giants are Giants, and Eagles.
Philly's looking really good.
Yeah,
now.
They might go back.
Back. And look at all the teams in the NFC too. The Rams, Green Bay. There's like
a lot of up and coming
Lions.
Teams, yeah.
Very up and coming. Look, Dallas. Like I said, I think in a way he's just trying to show Dak. Like, if Dak can go out and throw 30 touchdown passes with just CeeDee Lamb and Ferguson, like, I'll be impressed. Like, if Dak goes out and puts up the same numbers with this roster, I'll be very impressed.
It was never really about the numbers either. Like,
it's the playoffs.
It's the playoffs. It's the big games. It's him performing in the final seconds. It's just those type of moments. I mean, his stats were good last year. He's probably going to put up similar stats this year.
Probably.
But can he win playoff games? Can he carry his team?
That's the whole point, though. There's context within the stats. Stats could look great, but are you winning games? So that's a great point. Side note, Dylan, it's funny. We were going to have a whole episode one time about A.J. Brown, tensions with the Eagles. Just because we were on the Eagles right now.
Yeah.
An extension, 3 years, $96 million. So I guess that's why water under the bridge at this point.
I guess so.
They could still trade him.
Yeah.
They could still trade him.
Yeah, they gave Devontae Smith his contract first, and we were thinking, okay, they're probably going to get rid of AJ now.
Right.
What team is he going to? All these stories coming about how he messed around with somebody else's wife, this, that, the
He
third.
went on the radio, was getting into arguments with people on the radio, trying to clarify the issue and everything.
Yeah, 1 week later, he got his contract. So, yeah, I guess it's water under the bridge. Or they trade him with that contract.
Or they were trying to, put the fire out. There was a fire, and they're like, no, we don't want this right now. And they still might trade him after the season.
Yeah, for sure.
It could happen.
I hear a bunch of people saying, oh, he's washed, he's not worth it.
Washed?
You're crazy.
Who's saying he's washed?
Listen, I see it all over the internet saying A.J. Brown's washed.
Do they remember the first 6 games?
Yeah.
Where he 150 yards straight?
Yes. He was going to
The whole offense was shot in the second half. It wasn't just A.J. Brown. Jalen Hurts was injured. The whole Goddard was out. He was pretty exposed.
The only thing I really am not crazy about is just his attitude with the game and him being ball hungry.
It's funny because in that radio interview I was talking about, he did kind of say a lot of people think I just I'm screaming about the ball on the sideline, but maybe I'm pushing my teammates. Maybe I'm making people uncomfortable to be a leader.
I don't believe that one bit.
I don't either, because then later in the radio interview he was I'm saying give me the ball. I'm trying to win the game. So are you saying you want the ball? Or are you not complaining about the ball? Which one is it, man?
It's just PR. He's trying to.
But at the same time, I get it. You get frustrated in the game. Kelsey did with Andy Reid. It happens, man. I'm not mad. I don't get mad about stuff like that, especially if you're gonna go off in the offseason and say good things about the team and your fans, like he's been doing. Now the whole wife thing. That's neither here nor there. Schefter was laughing about it and denied it. So I don't know, man. We're not gonna be accusing people here. That's the ultimate sin. Well, not the ultimate sin, but it's more of the ultimate guy code sin. But anyway, moving on. The Eagles are having a great offseason, though. Another team that's having a pretty solid offseason, the Kansas City Chiefs. They move up with the Buffalo Bills, ironically, to draft Xavier Worthy at pick 28. The guy ran a 4.21 40-yard dash, which is a record. He is the fastest guy in NFL history now, as far as official 40 times. His speed is dangerous. They had Hollywood Brown. Now they had Xavier Worthy. They have legit speed now. Should Rashee Rice be a little worried?
He absolutely should. There's concerns beyond the field. He has I think it just came out that he has a $10 million lawsuit, and he's only getting paid $1 million a year, or he's set to make $1 million.
It's funny. People think these NFL guys are automatic multi-millionaires, and people that are just coming in the league on rookie contracts. That's not really the case.
And he was officially arrested 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Was that under the bridge? Was that on the down low or something?
It was. I really had to dig a bit deep to find that information, but listen, Roger Goodell is saying there is definitely going to be a suspension there for multiple games.
There should.
So, he could be out for half the season.
He could be out for the season.
The season in general.
This was that bad.
And I think that was really smart for them to pick up Xavier Worthy.
Dude's blazing speed. And then they got Hollywood. Hollywood is a 2. I love that, man. Hollywood is a 1, not so much. Hollywood is a 2.
Yeah.
I think... I don't know. Rashee Rice is still a big part of this team, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But when he comes back, Kelsey's probably going to retire. They just actually given an extension for a 2-year deal.
Yes.
So at least he could take the back seat and kind of be there, but not be that reliant.
It's funny though, Dylan, about that Kelsey deal. He still had 2 years left on this deal. Now they added another 2 to that, so he's got 4 now. Is he even going to make it to 4? Maybe they were just trying to do right by him. Maybe they were trying to push some years back on those 2 years to the next 2 years. Look, he deserves it. He's Travis Kelce. He's been taking pay cuts the entire time on the Chiefs. He's never complained.
Yeah.
I don't have much to complain about there. What's weird though is, let's flash back to when was Mahomes drafted? Was it 2017? 2017 draft. The Buffalo Bills traded that 10 pick to the Chiefs. Chiefs draft Mahomes. Everyone. I don't know if you heard this a lot, but people have brought that up a lot.
I've heard that.
Bills trade with the Chiefs again. They can't get past the Chiefs. They trade with him again. They select Keon Coleman. I think they actually traded back to pick 32, last pick. Then they trade with the Panthers again to pick 33, so the second round. So now the guy that they drafted, Keon Coleman, they don't have a 5th-year option on because it was a second-round pick. But apparently Josh Allen wanted Keon Coleman. He texted Keon Coleman after he was picked saying, they asked me who I wanted. I selected you, dude. I wanted you. So that's probably why they traded back. They knew that the other teams didn't want Keon Coleman, maybe. Or maybe they was just pure luck. But they got some picks. They got the guy they wanted. This is going to be good for Josh Allen. Apparently, this guy is a great contested catch receiver. He's not really a burner, but he's got good game speed. He does have good yards after the catch ability. But is this a Diggs replacement? I mean, Josh Allen chose this guy. Is he going to come in? There's going to be a lot of pressure on him now.
I mean, a lot of pressure. You have no wide receivers. The tight end is pretty deep. You got some good tight ends.
Yeah, Kincaid, Knox, right.
But he's going to have to come in and just replace that spot right away.
Think about that.
That's going to be tough for him, and right. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. But at the same time, receivers they're kind of like running backs in a way. They kind of could just jump in and just get right to it because you're just running routes. That's all it is. But it just seems how he's going to be paced out, how good of a receiver he is. We're going to be able to tell right away if he's that guy.
Yeah, because think about it. They traded Stephon Diggs. They lost Gabe Davis to the Jags, I'm pretty sure.
That's your 1 and 2.
Other than Khalil Shakir, who else is there? He's going to be exposed if he doesn't work out. So, but Josh Allen, when has he had a guy like this? A guy that can make 50-50 catches like DeAndre Hopkins almost. Mm-hmm. Like a Calvin Johnson. I mean, you can't compare anyone to Calvin Johnson. God bless. But, Gabe Davis, I guess, kind of was that guy. But, he would we always talked about how Gabe Davis would disappear. So
yeah, we don't know if that was his fault or Josh Allen just not seeing him.
This could be controversial, though, because you trade back. You give up the opportunity to get Xavier Worthy. Then the Panthers, you trade back again. They draft the receiver, Xavier Legette. So you give up on 2 receivers. And then also the Niners, in between that, drafted Ricky Pearsall at 31. So 3 receivers drafted, and you take the 4th guy, Keon Coleman, who you really wanted. If this guy doesn't work out, and even 1 or 2 of those other 3 work out, this could become a disastrous pick for the Bills. Last but not least, we'll get into this really quick. The Niners, like I said, at pick 31, in between that sandwich of trades, they drafted Ricky Pearsall, wide receiver. There's a lot of talk about will they give Brandon Aiyuk a new contract? Will they trade him? Now I'm hearing rumors about maybe Ayuk's not the guy they trade. Maybe Deebo is. Deebo's been falling off, getting injured. They signed him to a contract and hasn't necessarily lived up to it in a way. And Ayuk's more of a traditional wide receiver. I know I made an argument that Deebo was a top 10 receiver last season, but he was getting locked up by some good corners. Like McDuffie in the Super Bowl, he was getting locked, man. So he's not a great route runner like Aiyuk. So I get it. Who would you trade? Would you trade Aiyuk or Deebo if you had to trade one? Who would you keep?
I would trade Deebo just for the fact that you have Christian McCaffrey out there. You have your wide receivers. You really don't need that gadget guy,
That's tough. I gotta agree with you here. I love Deebo. He's one of my favorite players in the league. But you got a guy similar in McCaffrey who could also catch passes.
You can get something. You can get a good amount for him.
For a team
he's worth it.
He's worth it because he's still got a year, 2 or 3 of elite play, I think.
I feel like he's more of a team where, he can carry,
He did a couple of years ago for the Niners.
Yeah, exactly. But there's just too much talent around there. You would think so much talent can't be bad, but I feel like too much talent it starts to
because you gotta spread the love around.
Some
people might get unhappy because they're not getting the ball,
and you have to have chemistry with the players.
Yes.
You gotta know what one guy does better than the others, and I feel like it's good to have that 1-2. And they got 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, so 1, 2. That's a good analysis. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, because Kittle, Aiyuk, Deebo, McCaffrey. It's ridiculous.
So take away that gadget guy. Stick with Christian McCaffrey is more that gadget guy. He's
kind of that guy. And Christian McCaffrey can line up. Christian McCaffrey might be a better route runner than Deebo. Mm-hmm. He might be. And Deebo's kind of like a luxury item, He's not like a necessity. He's kind of just icing on the cake in a way. It's now we can just throw this guy at you. It's like a toy. It's all right, let's just throw this guy to kind of mess with you. I think with these new kickoff rules, though, he could be elite as a returner.
I don't know how they're actually going to play this out. If they're actually going to be putting
elite guys back there, I don't know. I don't know.
Is it worth? It's the same situation. I know it's a lot shorter of a distance.
Depends on injuries.
I don't think it's worth it.
But at the end of the game, kick off in the last minute. Why would I not put my best Saquon Barkley back there? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's they have the hands team. It's same situation. You put your best guys out there and just see if you can make something happen.
It's gonna be exciting to see how they play that rule when it comes.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of I don't want to say a new game, but
it is. That's a new play. But this is good stuff, man. A lot of crazy draft stuff happened, and I think we had a good debate about it, man. Like, I mean, this is good. This was a lot of good talk. It's gonna get a little cold here now with the draft being done. Gonna be a little bit of a lull.
There's always stuff to talk about.
We will find stuff for sure.
Messing around with people's wives and stuff. There's always something.
Not us, AJ Brown. Not us. See you guys next week. Thank you for everything. Keep giving us support. We're gonna keep chugging out episodes, even though it's gonna get a little cold here. We're gonna find stuff to talk about. Don't worry. There's always juicy things. We won't make stuff up though. Don't worry. Like about stuff.
We might.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Have a good week. Take care.